Welcome to Roast Mortem, the funniest podcast ever. My name is Tom.
Oh, we're doing it.
I'm Travis.
I am your Cody for the evening.
And I'm Mike.
There we go.
We got the crew.
Let's give all
here.
the crew a nice round of applause for showing up.
Yeah.
Give myself a pat on the back.
Yes.
Good job,
Essential
boys.
podcasters, we're here. We're toughing it out.
How is the libertarian conspiracy gonna propagate itself without white boys?
Excellent question.
Who's going crazy? What's going on? Everyone's going crazy. You know what? I'm so crazy, I don't even want to talk about coronavirus, because everyone does.
What's that? I don't know.
Thank you, Cody. What the hell is this?
You know what's the only thing that's great about this is that we're pretty much on the same level as all them late night TV show hosts that are recording in their bedrooms.
Oh, man. That's
Ooh.
Because they're stupid and they need to hear themselves talk.
What are we doing? Are we shooting ourselves in the foot today, Travis?
No, we're important, dog.
Essential?
We're essential.
Good.
I don't even
Yeah.
know, dude. I'm just drinking white wine.
Yeah, what you got?
Oh, some dumbass white wine.
I'm drinking some Twisted Teas like a real man, and I just been dreaming about getting cats. I want to have cats in my life.
the musical?
I'm stuck inside all the time. No, I just want a little poocheroo run around, hit him with like a
Why
fish.
do you call cats poocheroos? You did this in the last episode, too.
No, but I just want to like throw fish at him and shrimp. Like I bought some frozen shrimp to survive, and then but I want to share.
Just find a cat outside. Just take it inside.
I should.
I would love being like...
But then I'm like not quarantining.
That is true. You gotta lure it in. You make your apartment smell like fish.
Yeah, just put a few cans of tuna in the vestibule and wait for one to come in and give him the old Travis trap.
That's
Yeah.
Travis trap.
Throw
Wow,
your
all right.
disgusting
I might have
laundry
to set up
basket
some
at it
traps.
with clothes in there for confusion. And reel yourself in one of those fine Portland felines.
Yeah, I might need to do that. I think that's a good strategy. I might go hit the town for traps.
There you go.
All right, Cody, anything?
No, this is so like the norm for me. Aside from like washing my hands 2 more times a day, and it's kind of like heartbreaking too, because like the rest of the world is on my level and they hate it. So I'm just like sitting here like thinking about like, do I need to change my life once this is up and over with?
A reality check for you.
Do I need to go fucking hiking more? You know what I mean?
Yeah, do a hike, dog.
Well, not now.
They have no, but I'm saying they have ones where you could go and they have slides that have water that constantly run down them, and you hike down them really fast into the pool of piss at the
This
bottom.
is the worst intro ever. But,
I know.
I think
Keep
it's
going.
great.
Travis,
It's snowballing. I love it.
let's stop this jerk of an intro right now. You say we have something really gross on our chopping block tonight, right?
Yes, we do. We got something.
Is she messier than this intro?
Oh, she is way messier than this intro. So I'm gonna start this off by
Perfect.
asking you like a question. Have you guys ever done something or believed in something only to find out that it was terribly wrong?
Yes.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
My 20s.
Just everything.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few ways you can handle.
Santa.
Yeah, a few ways you can handle that. You could own up to it and say, "Oops, I fucked up." You
Right.
could completely ignore it like it never happened. Or you could go full hog, defy the obvious evidence of disbelief, and say, "Fuck it, I don't care. Shit happened, and it's real." Tonight we're roasting a woman and her followers that took the later 2 options here, and her name is Joanna Southcott.
All right. Never heard of
Okay.
it.
Yeah, you never heard of her, but she was
Neither
a
have I.
she was a prophetess and the leader of a millennialist religious sect called Southcottians.
Does not roll
was, like,
off the
recent?
tongue.
No, we're talking about like the turn of the 19th century.
Is that
Oh,
millennial?
I heard you say millennials.
Yeah, so we'll get into why she's called a millennialist
That doesn't make
in the
sense.
episode.
Aren't we millennialists?
That's what I would think, right? Because like we were the turn of the millennium, but you know.
Yeah, we're lazy and we work.
Uh-oh.
Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are millennials?
Almost
I don't even
everyone.
know the stereotypes for myself. I'm obviously a jerk.
We like the internet. We're ruining a bunch of shit, though.
We kick Jews out of Brooklyn.
Yeah. So this con artist, Joanna Southcott, she convinced thousands of doughy-eyed English folk that she was able to talk to God and send them into a panic that revelations was about to happen.
Oh, one of these.
And at the ripe old age of 65, that she was pregnant with the second coming of Jesus Christ.
How did I not hear about this?
Are you saying she had sex at 64?
No, she was a virgin, sir. How dare you?
She's pregnant.
So there was a turkey baster involved. What are we trying to say here, Travis?
So we've talked about a number of doomsdayer dudes like Zabatai Sevi, Pussy Boy, Frank, but Joanna is by far the stupidest and grossest of all of them.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Before we jump into this, I want to give you a little backstory behind the research into this, because I found out about this. I was looking for female subjects, and I was like, oh my god, this one's crazy. This is a great one to roast. So we got to get some more pussy on the show. It's a lot of dudes.
Sure.
You know?
Well,
It's a sausage factory.
that's what history is. I mean,
Yeah, that's.
what do we got to do? Roast Joan of Arc? Oprah?
Oh, I want to roast Joan of Arc.
Oprah's still kicking.
Not for long. See those knees?
Right, so here's the thing. Is like I ordered a book on this crazy bitch,
Right.
and little did I know, because Joanna was an outspoken woman, many historians consider her a powerful woman, and she was considered a feminist. And
Sounds like a real bitch.
yeah. So listen, ladies. I mean, just because you got the shit end of the stick with historical figures that, I'm sorry, we didn't talk about ladies too much in history. As we mentioned, it's very biased. But just because some bitch is yelling and screaming and men are afraid of her doesn't mean that she's self-righteous fighting the good fight here.
It took you like an hour and a half to write that bit, didn't it?
Yes, yeah. I sat there and I typed.
All right, listen up,
feet.
ladies. All right, that's a bad start. All right, so women, what do you know? What do you know about them?
Practice my stand-up.
MGTOW would be proud.
Yeah. So anyway, I got this book, Joanna Southcott, Woman Clothed in the Sun by Alan Brown. And while he did write about some of her shortcomings, it made her out like this empowered woman. So I was like, fuck this. I need a crazier book. So Alan Brown, you suck. And I ordered a book called Satan's Mistress by Val Lewis.
Hot.
Yeah.
Eye
Sounds
catching.
cool.
And it was a great read. And now I'll tell you about her.
Good.
So Joanna was born April 26th, 1750 in Ottery, St. Mary's in East Devon. In a little...
England.
Yeah, one of those weird English places that, doesn't sound like it really exists.
East Devon.
Nice.
Yeah. So she was born on the Tailford farm. And yeah. Although her family she was born on the Tailford farm, but her family wasn't there for that long after her birth, thanks to her drunkenly wonderful deader of a dad, William Southcott.
Drunkenly wonderful.
Yeah, William fucked
Of the
over.
year.
Yeah, William fucked over his in-laws' business and was ran out of town and forced to resettle in Gritsam, Devon.
Okay.
Yeah, so as you can already guess, Joanna's father and her mother Hannah had a tremendous effect on her budding into this kind of entitled scumbag. Hannah
Sure.
loved to recount to her daughter that somehow her father had lost a whole bunch of money. He used to be rich. And if Granddad didn't lose that fortune, we would be royalty right now.
Oh, one of those. So it's like English white trash.
That is the main occupation for women at the time. That's why no one wrote about it.
Losing money?
No, it's not losing money. It's complaining about not enough money or spending too much money.
Oh, fuck, am I a woman?
And then if you
do
were
that all
just
the
a
time.
normal woman at the time, you would be like a normal man who, regardless, there's no history being written about you.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about these average people because history isn't about average people. It's about extraordinary dickholes.
Yeah.
Hence this podcast.
It's true.
And Hannah was making up these extraordinary tales about how the fortune was lost in a shipwreck on its way to America or to a thief. All this crap. It was all garbage.
Good.
So William and Hannah both, like I said, told their children that they should have been gentry and there's some vague misfortune. And this instilled an immense family pride into this shitbag of a family.
Why bother doing that to your children? You know what I mean? Like, they don't know that they're not in the class they might have priorly been in.
Oh,
Yeah.
Why would you, like, pat your child on the head and be like, you could have been way more comfortable if we were richer? Like, just...
They don't know. Kids
just
don't know
carry
shit.
on. How does that cheer you up, Mike?
Well, if you're poor and your parents are telling like, oh, we used
They
to have
don't know
money,
they're
I guess
poor.
it makes
They
it.
just think they're run-of-the-mill at that point, like every other fucking kid.
Yeah, and most kids were poor back then. So I'm surrounded, like, when you're surrounded by other poor people your whole life, it's like, that's
Just blend
it.
right in.
All of a sudden, hey, we're actually not supposed to be here, but we did something wrong.
Yeah, that's why we're
explanation
getting you
for it.
fucked up, too.
And now
I
you
grew-
get punished.
I grew up knowing that I was pretty well off because we would go to Red Lobster maybe like every 3 months.
so,
so I
cheddar
mean,
biscuits.
classy. I couldn't order any of the things that said MP on them though.
Or anything over $4.
The $4 menu at Red Lobster.
The kids menu. It's
Like
just
a biscuit.
broccoli bottoms, chicken nuggets, which is just tuna.
Clam and nuggets. All right, so much like our other psychics that we've roasted, Helen Duncan, Sylvia Brown, Joanna had a
yes.
crazy grandmother that spewed paranormal, spiritual mumbo-jumbo about their family lineage of psychics and clairvoyance.
That's annoying.
Yeah, just don't do that to your family. Just don't. Even if you knew, like, your ancestry had clairvoyant juice in it, just forget about it.
Just go away.
Let your children like keep it going without that shame on their shoulders.
I don't know. Maybe take it one step further. If you're in England and you think that, go to Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stay there.
Well, you go to
and if you're in
Scotland-
Scotland, go to England.
Yeah, if you're in
it.
Scotland, you'll just get beat up. And that's the end of you.
Exactly. Just go to a place where your nationality isn't appreciated and find yourself a group of mediums there.
Yeah.
If you were gonna be beaten up by a big burly guy, wouldn't you rather have him have a Scottish accent than anything else?
Well, it makes you seem like you had a fighting chance, or you didn't have a fighting chance, so therefore it was more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Dramatic, laddie.
Yeah,
Get your anus over here.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I was gonna be beaten to a pulp by someone, I would like that person to have a Scottish accent, just for the story of it too.
This big red-headed freak came barreling at me.
Yep,
So,
wearing a kilt and everything.
so her grandmother especially told her about the powers of her dreams and the moon and the devil. Joanna would constantly be seeing these demonic spirits and angels in the moonlight.
Good stuff.
She was extra afraid of her father's cider shed, which apparently they have in England, just a shed full of bottled cider.
I believe it.
Wow, I want one.
She would see this ghostly apparition and a light in the shed every once in a while when she was outside peeing or some shit.
All right.
So she'd run to her father and be like, "Oh my God, there's a ghost in there. Satan's in there." Her father was almost always drunk, so he probably just hit
Yeah.
her or something. I don't know.
Of course Satan's over there. Don't touch my fucking cider, you penis.
Yeah. Is it a hard cider shed or?
Oh yeah, we're not talking about apple juice.
Well, every man has to have a shed throughout history, but men have had less things to put in the shed in the beginning of shed times. So initially it was a shed just filled with cider and wet clothing. And then
wrenches.
eventually we invented like things like steel, and then we got machetes and we put them in there. Eventually lawnmowers. You know where this is going. So now the sheds
There's a-
are fairly useful, but back then it was just like, I need a shed and I gotta put something that's gonna get me drunk in it.
Does this family like have an issue with like fucking making assumptions? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you have a drunk person, and then you have a hard cider shed, and then you hear a bump in the night. Is it a ghost or the drunk person, you think?
The guy who built
It's
the
a ghost.
cider shed.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
the guy who owns the shed.
so she'd run back to her father, William, who was drinking cider all day in the shed. Now he's like laying on the couch. And William would be like, get away from me. I hate you. But he was actually letting smugglers use the shed to move products around England. So she didn't know that, but that was her Satan spawning, or just dudes, I don't know, selling mink furs or something, whatever you smuggle in England.
Yeah, guys selling knockoff Cheerios.
Yeah.
All right, so just assume smuggler before apparition. Even that's a better presumptuous leap.
So Joanna was pretty in her youth, and she was called Little Miss Perfect. By the age of 15, she became
nice.
a bit of a cock tease. Remember, this is the 1860s here, so, I mean, kids were banging probably when they were 4 years old.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah.
The idea of statutory rape hadn't really made its way into our vocabulary yet, so it's just whatever goes, whatever's got a tit on it.
Yeah, fucking
It's a terrible way to be.
15-year-old cock teases. Hence why we're not that way anymore.
Right, well, she's 15, and that's when you kind of, like, started, I mean, it's biological. When you're in high school, you're like, oh, my God, titties, and people, teens start making out, start touching shit. I don't know. I'm never having children.
Yeah, slinging germ at each other.
I don't know. I'm
but-
never having children.
Yeah. She's like the queen of playing hard to get, right? So,
Yeah.
this was mainly because her parents were telling her that she was robbed of her wealth and that she was way above these farm boys. She was destined to marry a highborn.
A highborn.
Okay, a highborn.
So, as expected, oh, look, a fucking complex came of this, like, idiotic, like, parenting maneuver.
Yeah. So obviously Joanna wasn't going to get any highborn penis. So she
No.
fixed her eyes on a lad named Noah Bishop. Little
Oh,
Bishop
hey.
boy.
Very religious name.
Yeah. So she teased the hell out of Bishop. And she would stand him up. They go to a dance, and she'd berate him in front of his friends. But Noah kept coming. She was such a looker, right? She was just playing that hard to get,
All right, Noah's a simp. Got it.
Yeah. But she, secretly, when Noah wasn't around, she was pining for him. She's like, I really want to be with Noah, and then Noah would show up, and she's like, you're ugly, get out of here.
Oh, man, if there's anything that you could just tell young women not to do, if you like a guy, you don't have to make it easy, but don't make it hard.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
please.
ladies, don't play hard to get, put out immediately.
Don't shoot yourself in the vulva.
This is a game that's been played since, what year is this now?
We're in the 1760s right now.
1760s, right. So we can date this stupid game back to the 1760s, and there has been 0 winners.
Yeah.
No, it's a game no one wins.
Well, here's the thing: is Noah eventually gave up, and he just started hooking up with someone else to treat him like a human being.
Good.
Hey,
Good.
yeah,
That's,
look at him.
All right, Noah's a real man.
Yeah,
A
Sim
real
card
15-year-old
revoked.
boy who's been dead for 200 years now.
Yeah. So Joanna was all hurt now. How could this guy choose anyone over her? She thought, and she tried to win him back by meeting up with him at a fair. But unfortunately, the day before, her face was stung by a bunch of bees. So
Yeah.
she showed up,
So
and he's
how-
like, "Rah, I love you, Noah." And he's like, what is
How?
going on here?
Common of a problem was that back in the day.
She should have stayed out of the fucking cider shed. There's probably hundreds of bees in there.
Yeah, it's probably mostly bees. Fucking got that
More bees than cider.
got that Lon Chaney look coming out over like, remember me? I was mean to you.
I don't even know why we call this a fucking cider shed. It should just be called the bee shed, and everyone should stay out of it.
So why
right?
am I telling you this whole coming of age love story thing is not really important? Just remember Noah Bishop. He's going to come back up way later in our story. So
All right.
I hope
We
he's her
know a
lawyer.
bishop.
yeah. So we know that Bishop is going to come back. So all in all, Joanna was becoming more and more godly and self-righteous as she got older. One of her heroes was her great aunt Sarah, who became a nun. So there you go.
There you go.
No. Why is it? I'm not even gonna touch it. But who has? Just pointing it out. Whose hero is a fucking nun?
That's my hero.
That's like,
Why? You explain yourself now.
yeah. Now you have to talk about it, Mike.
I don't have to explain myself.
Fine. I choose not to. You choose. You know you don't have to. Holding that against me.
Yeah, so there's another knock on there. Joanna was not going to give herself up easily because, she's like a nun. And so, all that said, by the age of 65, shooting forward, she was walking around saying that she was a virgin. In reality, she seemed to be flirting and fucking anyone that paid her the slightest attention after
fake
Noah
virgin.
Bishop.
You learn a
Desperate.
lesson.
Yeah.
You start to play the game a little differently. Not only do I respect that, because that's learning,
Yeah.
but also get your rocks off, bitch.
Yeah.
Get freaky with it.
The next 6 years of her life, very little is known about what happened, but we do know that she had multiple marriage proposals that she all shot down. She had a fling with a dude with the last name of Page, and she says this. Sorry, he first made love to me, then he married my sister.
Hey, congratulations.
Tear
Yeah.
a page out of that book.
Yeah. One of my favorite porn stars is called Paige Turner.
Oh.
Oh, that's interesting. Is she English?
I don't know. She doesn't really do the speaking.
It is hard to tell if
you
they're
know.
English if they have a giant
Yeah.
cock in their mouth the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to put out a few words, though, like, good day, mate.
Good eye, mate. Who's looking to fuck?
Yeah, that's English.
Wow, this is hot.
So, for the rest of her life, she dreamt about being with her brother-in-law.
Sick.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Hot. Good stuff.
That's a shitty Easter.
Step brother-in-law.
It's like,
Jeez, that's pretty awkward dinner, you know?
Yeah, right.
I just hid some eggs for your kids.
Okay.
I just saying that while she's like slowly shoveling like a ham into her mouth.
I like it.
Oh man.
So eventually she ends up working as a maid. The first wealthy family that she worked for ended up firing her after their hired footman outed her for being a household mistress, something she denied.
Ooh.
Yeah, but she was probably walking around and be like, I was actually supposed to be richer than all of you. Take this in your oatmeal.
The next family was the Wills family. Now this,
Wills?
yeah, the Wills. Now this was
right,
a dysfunctional. Like, if there's any model of a dysfunctional English aristocratic family, it would be the Wills.
Okay.
You see, Miss Wills was a known cheat. She was out there sucking schmegma out of all the dandies in town.
Really?
I like to think that that was her primary objective, to just suck schmegma, not
If you stay soft, it's much easier to remove schmegma.
just
She's
like
got
some
a-
kind of fucked up hummingbird.
Sure Mr. Will's not into it?
He keeps his dick clean.
No, well, Mr. Wills was being straight cucked at home. And Joanna helped spread the seed of these scandalous rumors about Miss Wills to her husband, giving him lists of all the dudes that had plowed his wife.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
You just walk away. You don't need that.
What, she would
Yeah.
like serve him English breakfast in bed, and like on a napkin would just be a bunch of cock tracings?
Yeah, dicks I've plowed, but because this is England, it's PLOUGHED.
William Wills, the husband of the family, started to get the feels for Joanna. So Joanna put on her godly cock tease instincts, and you know
Yeah, let the
she
guy
starts
live.
to lead him on a little bit.
Wait, is she still 15 at this time?
No, she's like in her
Yeah,
20s.
this all happened in 2 months.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
As long as she's not 15, let the guy live, you know?
Yeah, eventually Willie Wills states his pure feelings of love towards Joanna. And she says some shit about how she's not going to give in to the devil, and, you know, if these temptations continue, she would leave the house. You know, she's like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm not like a slut, even though I kind of am.
Yeah, okay.
So, like many other times, she asked God to give her a sign if she should stay in the Wills house or leave. So, Mr. Will's horse had escaped from the stable, and she said that if the horse was found within a week, she would leave. If not, she'd stay.
Good sign. I always like the process that is asking for a sign.
It's like asking a magic 8-ball.
Should I go
There you
against
go.
all of my fake morals that I'm just putting on now for show? Let me ask a horse.
Honest
Yeah.
opinion, you know?
So, the horse...
You know what upsets me about that? A lot of people thought like that back then.
A lot of people still
Like,
think
yeah.
like that. Like, I'm going to buy a new car if the Mets win tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
Something to
back,
look
but
forward
back
to.
then, people with a lot more power did that on the regular. Like, I will resurrect a church if I see no more crows on my lawn for the rest of the afternoon.
Wow.
Well, I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't see any. So let us build the church
Church it is.
and then
you
spend
go.
all these poor people's money. You know, it's just
Come on, you gotta spread the word of God, Tom. Come on.
yeah. But through
Yeah.
crows,
Crows, Mike.
You gotta
Well-
count those crows, you know?
No.
So,
No.
this horse was not found, so God told Joanna, you got to stay. You can't leave.
you must.
Through a horse.
Yeah.
I know God works in mysterious fucking ways, but having a horse proxy is a new one for me tonight, and I'm frankly having difficulty grappling with it, so thank you.
Yeah. When asked why she didn't leave later, after what we get into, she said that it was her Christian duty to reclaim Mr. Wills's wayward mistress.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah. So she had to stick around because Mrs. Wills was a hoe, and I had to, like, fix it.
You gotta fix the hose.
Yeah.
How does she fix it?
I don't know.
And also, what was Mrs. Will's first name?
Willis.
William
I don't
Wiener.
know. I don't know.
Willona.
William.
Randall.
Will, that,
Willette.
Bob.
she was the hottest man with male-patterned baldness you've ever seen.
So, Mr. Wills was good on his word, and he stopped pursuing Joanna. But Joanna kept snooping into Mrs. Wills's affairs. One morning, while Mrs. Wills was sleeping, probably after a fake taxi ride, she woke up to find Joanna poking around her room. So, obviously, you wake up and, like, your maid is just, like, digging through your dresser. You're going to be fucking pissed.
Yeah, what are you doing, whore?
Yeah.
Just just so succinct. I imagine Tom walking in a room and just saying that quickly. You're like, what are you doing, Laura?
So there was a yelling match. Joanna claimed that she was trying to save Mrs. Wills' soul. Mr. Wills enters the room to
God.
find his wife weeping, and told Joanna that she was just as bad as her, and fired her on the spot.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It doesn't matter. This lady's nosy. She likes horses too much. She hates guys named Noah.
It's full gambit.
Yeah. I mean, I
So-
don't like
We were
guys
playing
named Noah that
bingo.
much, but that's just me.
Yeah, so Joanna recruits the help of Methodist Reverend Marshall, and Joanna sues Mr. Wills. This was the first time a woman in England had sued her employer for sexual harassment, and she won.
Oh, no. I mean, awkward that I said, oh, no, but at the same time, it's just like, oh, this is the start of it.
Well,
regardless if it was in the right or not.
Well, you have to say,
what I'm
oh,
trying
no.
to save
You know how
myself
the
from.
world is divided into teams at all times.
There's no changing teams at any point.
You can't. I mean, unless, you can. I'm not touching that one. But, like any room you walk into is going to be divided amongst two groups immediately. It doesn't matter what happens. Even if the four of us walk into a room, immediately there's going to be something, men and women, they're going to fight for the rest of the history. Yeah. Sometimes it's just, and sometimes it's unjust, and sometimes it's just hilarious.
Oh, I had no idea you were talking about sexes when you said there were two teams. So that makes my prior comment look very asshole-ish.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that to me, Tom. I thought I was on an entirely different bandwagon right there, but nope.
I was actually standing up for you, but in my twisted way that made us look a lot worse.
Yeah, I was like on the sidecar of the bandwagon, and you're just there unwrenching the bolts that are keeping it together.
I could help too.
So this victory helped cement the fact that God was on her side and that she had a divine mission to fulfill.
Hot.
Yeah.
I like that.
Did she blow the jury?
12 not angry men?
I mean, I've 12 relieved men.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the 12 relieved men, she received a healthy payout, and then God told her that he forbade her to work for her family or receive any wages. How convenient.
Damn.
God told me not to work, dude. I just got this money. I can't work.
I want a god like that. How do I find a god like that? I'm opening applications for a god like hers.
Let's fast forward a few years to 1792. Joanna is now 42 years old, and she has run out of money from the settlement. So now she needs to find a job. Apparently, God's cool with you finding a job now.
Usually we fast forward to the good parts, but that was the saddest fast forward I ever heard, Travis.
To 42?
Oh, she's 42 and broke now. She's like, well, save me from that hell, please.
Yeah, right?
So she's just hanging out, eating expensive oranges and shit. And 40, many years later, here we are. She's putting her feet up, going, "Wow, nothing left in this checkbook."
But still putting her feet up.
Yeah,
her feet are up because she knows she's just got to con some chump ass bitches now.
Yeah, and she's gonna sell the ottoman soon, so she's got to get the use out of it before she pawns it.
Precisely.
well, she started selling ottomans because she bumped into the Taylor family, who was looking for a maid and someone to help out with their upholstery business. So she got into upholstery.
You are welcome for the segue.
Nice.
Yeah. So Robert Taylor brings her on, but his wife Lucy was a little bit hesitant because Joanna had a reputation for being less than mild-mannered and a bit of a whore mistress. Around this time, Joanna had a revelation. Like all these revelations and all these talking to gods, all that shit kicks up to 11. But what's really happening here is a schizophrenic breakdown.
Oh.
But when you mention God, it's not a mental disorder.
No. It's divinity at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I also want to point out to our listeners that we are an equal opportunity kind of podcast. We do make fun of mental illness. We think it's very funny.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not? It's so easy.
It's a gimme.
Low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit.
So, Joanna, she'd always been a psychic. And by that I mean she made wild statements. And then she would, when one of them was true, she'd walk around parading and bragging that, oh, look, it came true. And when it wasn't true, she'd just try to bury it as quickly as possible.
Came true.
Right.
Turning misses into hits.
This became the norm, how she operated. But she would also, do some nasty shit, like she would predict when people died or even, put curses on them. It wasn't like Miss Yolanda or whatever, the TV psychic. It's like, I'm gonna fucking,
Miss Cleo?
Miss Cleo. I'm gonna fucking see witch you.
Miss Yolanda was a security guard at our school.
Yeah, well, I think she was also a psychic.
She was a psychic. She told me several times.
At one time, she caught me fucking cutting class, even though it was just so random. Like, I thought I was in the clear, just, like, going down, like, the hallway, and there she is, like, gotcha! I'm like, fuck, bitch is psychic.
She started to write down all of her prophecies, or tried to, because her writing was horrendous. She would sometimes scribble up to 5,000 words a night, saying that she was communicating with angels.
Wow.
Now, Lucy Taylor, the woman that once was leery of Joanna, became her =1 follower. So Lucy completely 180'd and was now calling Joanna a prophetess.
Is that a real word? Or are these people just like they seem to be flying by the fucking seat of their pants?
I think that they're looking for another way to highlight what the person, because prophet I don't think is a gendered word at all.
Tom, it's all about the marketing.
Exactly. So it's just like, well, she's a prophet. But I did say let's make that apparent right off the top. Also, writing 5,000 words a night. What does this word chunt mean? You've written it 35 times in this line?
Chunt. Chunt.
The truth is that I found Mr. Will's horse and I put him down behind my dad's cider house. She ripped that page out.
I'm just imagining what the quietest way to kill a horse is so other people won't notice. And I'm just imagining Tom just like chloroforming a horse, struggling immensely, and then just stomping it out once it's fucking...
I wouldn't do that, but it is funny to picture me doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I like horses. They're okay.
You're very tall. You could reach that.
A horse.
Yeah, but I'm most
like.
likely to get killed out of all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but also
By
a horse
horse.
is just a stretched out dog. It's got a long face, got long legs. You just take a horse and you smush it together, you have a dog.
So what is your point? Try and play fetch, but throw the stick off of a cliff and then kill the horse that way?
No, dude, that's still stretched. You got to make it even less stretched. As Joanna spirals into pious schizophrenia, one day while she was sweeping up the tailor's upholstery shop, she found a old wax seal with the monogram IC and 2 stars, one above and below the IC.
Underneath it was a very small wiener.
Instead of putting it back on the shelf, she pocketed it. So she takes the seal and she decides to make up this whole story that this seal was the seal of the living God. And the IC stands for Jesus Christ. Just a problem with that? Because Jesus starts with a J.
It's like that weird fucking... Is that like that fucking Indiana Jones movie where he's got to walk across the floor? Do you remember that?
Oh, the invisible floor?
No, it's not the invisible floor. It's the floor that will fall if he does not walk in the name of God, and he's literally got to, like, jump on Jehovah. But Sean Connery's there like, Jehovah begins with an I.
Oh, yeah, there you go,
really?
Travis. There's a hole in your fucking script. Throw it out. Let's do another person.
But his name's not Jehovah Christ,
Yes, it's not Jehovah Christ. No, she doesn't know
It's
what Jehovah
Ihova
means.
Cruz.
Oh, Ihova Cruz.
Ihova Cruz.
So she would use this stolen seal to seal up her prophecies that she would write down.
Just the one she found
On the
like,
floor.
the junk drawer.
It was for her, dude. She was a trash lady. She's reclaiming her family riches that have been dashed all over the place like some kind of Naughty Dog game.
Left on the floor.
Yeah, so her prophecies are really stupid, guys. Like, I'm gonna give you one of the dumbest ones that I read about. She was staying with her friend Miss Minifree, and one night Miss Minifree was in debt and like sick, so Joanna was staying with her for an extended period of time. And one night, Joanna had a dream that her friend's house was on fire. All of a sudden, she snapped awake and smelled smoke. She opened the guest bedroom door to find the house in flames. She rescued her friend. And after the fact, with all of Miss Minifree's possessions in a smoldering mess, she claimed it was divine intervention and that God told her the house was on fire while she was sleeping.
Something to do with the smell, I guess.
Yeah.
So I love how the dream is the divine part. But if you really just chalk it up to God, he was just throwing her like a freebie, like he set the house on fire and then let her know the house was on fire as the house was burning. If God was really a fucking stand-up character, he would have given her like 2 weeks notice with that fucking dream and then torched the bitch down.
Yeah, you'd be like, hey, buddy, like your house is gonna, blow up in like 2 weeks. You might as well get all your valuables out.
Is that convenient for you? I'm sorry.
Which one of you dipshits forgot to turn off the deep fryer again?
It's late night McNuggets, man.
So at this point, Joanna is walking around calling her Christ reincarnated into the female form.
Pussy Christ! It's me, Pussy
Yeah.
Christ, everybody. Pay attention.
Pussy Christ!
Yeah, sure, why not?
The tale of
yeah.
Pussy Christ.
The problem was,
Amen.
besides some housewives, no one really took Joanna seriously. Joanna needed to prove her miracles to the church. Enter Reverend Joseph Pomeroy. He was the vicar of St. Hugh's Church in Cornwall. Now, I feel really bad for this dude. There's a lot of people in our roast. Very rarely am I like, I feel bad for this guy, even if they're not the person we're roasting. I'm like, that's stupid.
Uh-huh.
But Joanna and her twisted world would rake this man's name through the dirt so bad, and he was genuinely a nice guy trying to help an insane person.
Oh, okay.
Let that be a lesson. Just don't help the crazies.
Yeah, no. So
Just let them flounder.
They don't need help. They can just fucking survive somehow.
yeah, so Joanna spotted Pomeroy delivering a sermon at his church, and instantly it was love at first sight. Joanna had still not gotten married, and she was in her 40s now, so she was considered a spinstress. Another problem that Joanna had was that Pomeroy was already happily married. So it's not like, he cared, and she didn't care either. She's like, we're already married in my mind.
Oh, mind marriages. Yeah. Also, Travis, when you said spinstress, did you mean spinster?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mixed that up with
Spinstress
Prophetess.
is another dirty tag for
They're
pornography.
related.
Yeah.
Like, because you haven't married, you're just spinning. You might as well be spinning guard. You're a spinster.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm
So-
thinking about ladies doing that. They're
You're
spinning
welcome.
like we're riding spinners. So
Riding spinners.
Joanna convinced Lucy to contact Pomeroy so they could meet, and Joanna could finally get that religious validation that she craved because he was a man of God. So the meeting took place, and Joanna told Pomeroy everything: her divine communications, her ability to predict the future, all that shit. She wanted him to confirm that the messages were coming from God, not the devil, because she wasn't sure.
I get those confused like all the fucking time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They have similar voices. It's like listening
Yeah,
to car
kill
talk.
your child. Who said that?
Oh, whoa.
Careful there, Travis.
Corona.
Yeah, was that God?
Yeah, so Pomeroy had a heart. He didn't want to crush this crazy woman's poor disillusions. So he told her that the voices didn't seem like they were coming from the devil. And he said, if you are called by God, you ought to warn the public before the road falls, or else it'll be no use to anyone afterwards.
So he's encouraging the crazies.
Well, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So then he got up and he pulled Lucy off to the side and told her this. She'll be out of her mind soon. If there's anything I can do for the poor woman, you must not hesitate to call me. I'll come at once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all right. So,
All right.
what's the fucking treatment for schizophrenia in this time period? Just to hose them off
Yeah.
and hope they don't break anything?
I mean, this
Let 'em hang
was
out.
the time of bedlam. They just throw you in a fucking crazy asylum.
The holy men used to carve faces in potatoes and leave them all over the house for the crazy people, so they could justify all the voices they were hearing.
Really?
I just made that up, but it sounds convincing, doesn't
It
it?
sounds really legit, though.
Yeah, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're hearing voices, so you might as well give them
It's
something to
gotta
look
be a
at.
potato.
Yeah.
They don't know what podcasts are.
Yeah, right. Fucking idiots.
So Joanna felt defeated, and she had not convinced Pomeroy that, these messages were coming from God. So after a few months of moping around, she asked Lucy to call him again. This time she told him that not only were these voices coming from God, but God told her that she was the bride of Christ.
What? Lucky.
Yeah.
Is it?
So this time, still pitying Joanna, Pomeroy warned her, "You have advanced things to make me shudder, and I do not know, but that this borders on blasphemy."
Yeah. Because like the whole thing is like, the holier than thou figures are like celibate.
It's just a bold claim.
Yeah.
Forget all the details and stuff. Just like, well, all right, so you married Jesus? That's funny. That motherfucker died almost 2,000 years ago. How are you still kicking?
time travel.
What's going on? Can I see your marriage certificate?
Yeah, what kind of wedding band did the J-Man drop on?
I think the
Yeah, I don't
J-Man's going.
believe in it.
He's going straight to the Elvis priest in Vegas. It's like, we gotta get this shit done. I don't have a lot of
through chapel.
I don't have a lot of time, man. I'm gonna be up on some cross later. We gotta get this shit done, dog.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Get it moving.
You sure she didn't think Jesus, not Jesus?
Sign this prenup.
Look, the guy is holy as fuck. All right, that's all you need to know about him.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So she was talking blasphemy, and he told her, "I do believe that one word of yours is at least from the spirit of the devil." So he's like,
One word?
At least one of them is coming from the devil.
So, like, it's like even the people back in the day are starting to realize, like, bitch has got multiple voices up in her head.
Yeah. So Joanna, this shut her up for a little bit. She was confused, and yeah, like, I don't know. She's like, I just keep hearing these voices, but that didn't stop her from the prophecies coming. They kept coming. She's like, hey, whatever. I'm gonna start writing more of these prophecies down, and I'm gonna seal them up, just so people know that I haven't tampered with them, and start sending them to all of the bishops, vicars, and of course Pomeroy, because she still has to convince him of her prophecies. So she'd write down some shit, seal it with this ICP badge,
No.
and send it out.
Miracles, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of the people who received them just threw them in the fire.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what Pomeroy started to do, but we'll get back into that.
Future
Old school junk
predicting.
mail.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just passively
Future
understanding people really well. That's
Yeah.
what
Or
you need to do.
he's just using common sense. When
Yeah.
crazy people send you a thing, right into the fire.
It wasn't
Yeah.
exactly Waterworld back then, but having a piece of parchment paper to do something with, like, I'm just going to write notes on the back of it.
Right in the fire. Nowadays, can't fucking burn iPads. They just smother the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, your crazy
they're
thoughts are
resistant.
forever on the internet.
Scary.
Joanna believed that she was invincible and infallible. Working at this upholstery shop, when she fucked up an order, one in particular, she cut a pillow a foot short. And the dude was like, well, why is this? This is not the dimensions I asked for. She said, God instructed me to cut that pillow a foot short, you stupid idiot.
Wow. Can you just imagine how fucking irate you would be if you go in for a haircut and your barber, like, just butchered your dome and was just like, God told me to do this to you, man.
Act of God.
Dude, I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like you go to a deli section at any local supermarket, you're gonna get a guy who has the same mentality. And you go, can I get a half a pound of Jarlsberg Swiss and a half a pound of oven gold turkey and a half a pound of Virginia ham? And then he gives you the 3 items back, and one of them is wrong. And then when you say, hey, I didn't order this liverwurst, without batting an eye, he's going, no, you asked for a liverwurst.
full price. You asked for full price liverwurst.
I have seen that happen so many times.
You don't fuck
You
with
think
the
it's a
deli
joke? That's a tale. Okay?
Yeah.
Not even a joke. That's a tale.
It's a life adage.
Joanna started building a following, and she called, most of them were women, and she called them her brides of Christ. Although
There's more than one.
yeah,
now?
so here's the thing, it didn't catch on until a little later. She was the bride of Christ. So she had to double
why is it
back.
pluralized?
Yeah, she had to double back on her whole verbiage and say that she was the chosen bride.
Ooh.
Favorite bride, top bitch.
Okay. I love this. So there are chosen brides.
Well, there's one.
And then there is a set of chosen bride, solely her, and then you have this set of people forcibly marrying Christ, like marrying Jesus against his will, because they're not chosen brides.
No, they're not chosen.
They're
at all.
unchosen brides.
They're unchosen.
So they're just marrying the J-man without his fucking consent altogether.
Excuse me, miss, why did you marry Jesus Christ? Well, I was talking to his favorite wife, and she said that she had free cider for me. Well, I thought that would be a great opportunity to expand my horizons and perhaps have sex with Christ. I realize now that I am going to hell.
Yeah, you only go to hell if the horse comes back, though.
True.
Yeah. So here, this is kind of sick. In order to demonstrate to her new followers her ability to foresee the future, she made a prediction. She believed that her own father, William Southcott, who was already sick, mind you, would die on October 1800.
The entire month.
No, well, she even made a day, St. Swinton's
Okay.
Day. She was like, that's when he's going to
What
die.
day is that?
Wait, who? Saint what? There's a saint?
St. Swinton's Day.
What day is that?
I don't know. The English have like we just do St. Patty's Day, but there's like St. George's Day, St. Andrew's Day, St. Boy's Child Day.
I wonder if it's on my birthday. Birthday's in October.
Of all the Catholic countries out there, Catholic Christian countries, we're like the only one that doesn't practice a saint week every day.
Right.
Like,
There's a lot of saints, man.
yeah, like most places in Europe, you cannot walk down the street with someone like not telling you, "Oh, happy Saint Goliathskips Day."
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, he's the guy who was the first guy to glue rubber to a belt.
So wouldn't you know it, St. Swinton's Day happened, and William got better and lived. Our
I didn't see
prediction.
that
Oh, no.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
She then tried to predict his death 2 or 3 more times, but every time he
All
got
right.
better.
Yeah, he's
keep
like,
doing it.
bitch, yeah, bitch, keep telling me when I'm dying. I'll be strong enough to fucking roundhouse a mule and kill it one day.
Right? He would have died on St. Swinton's Day had she not said something.
Yeah, if she kept it to herself.
These goddamn daughter bitches. Tell me when to die.
Big jinx.
I don't have any money for you.
Yeah, imagine just your own offspring, like, starting a death pool on you.
Yeah, right?
Hey.
Well, like, that's the fucked up thing, is like you're making a prediction about your own dad's death. Like,
I mean, yes, he's gonna die eventually, but bitch,
yeah.
Relax.
be easy.
So eventually he croaked. Eventually he croaked in 1802, and she said, "See, my prophecy has been fulfilled." And then she became too depressed to even attend his funeral.
Isn't that sad? Funerals are sad. Sometimes you don't want to go.
Yeah, but
Where was
come
the
on.
funeral? Was it in the cider house?
Yeah, it was in the cider house rules.
Yeah, it's not a shed anymore. They added a wing to the cider house.
It's got a private swimming pool filled with cider, of course.
Ooh.
That's all we have going for us.
So the turn of the 19th century was big for Joanna. God instructed her to print her crazy ramblings and publish her first book called The Strange Effects of Faith. Faith is weird. She
I mean, fucking redundant.
then doubled down and made Strange Effects of Faith Part 2.
Ooh. Gotta
Oh,
check that
creative.
out.
Yeah. What's the third installment? Strange Effects of Faith 3: Resurrection.
Yeah. Part 2 was actually the second one. But
Third time's a charm.
yeah, surprisingly, these books sold like hotcakes. They were sort of like a farmer's almanac, full of weather predictions, crop predictions, the trajectory of England as a nation. It was all just trash, just piles of shit that you'd see at a grocery store, like when you're
Wow.
The
buying your
National
shit.
Enquirer or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like fake news. Lindsay Lohan has like 5 eyes or some shit like that, or she's an alien.
Yeah, she's got fucking reptilian DNA.
Some crazy shit. I love those.
Yeah, man. But what if you were relying on one of those for your career? Let's say you grew asparagus for a living.
Sure.
And this bitch writes a book and is just like, well, asparagus is going to do very well
That's
right
all you
now.
got back then.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, shit.
So
Shit out internet.
You throw your last 10 pence into this thing, waiting for your asparagus crop to come in, and then all of a sudden, Prophecy's dumb as shit. And now you're
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed.
stuck at home with a bunch of thin, weeping asparagus that no one will take off your hands.
Yeah, like this asparagus is fucking anemic.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that's
would be pretty
possible.
pissed.
Like we don't even get the weather right now. Like whenever there's a hurricane, they're like, I don't know which way it's gonna go. It might go this way, it might go that way.
We've gotten better, but it's
predictable.
never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I say never going to be, I don't know what I'm talking about.
So also in 1799, Robert Pomeroy's wife died. And without hesitation, Joanna started sending him love letters once every other day, writing about how they were predestined to be together and that God wanted them to wake up the world.
So she's like, I'm a bride of Christ, but you my fucking side man.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, some reason they just these two needed to marry. I guess God likes to be cucked a little bit.
Well, God could be anywhere. He could use one of his many penises to get off at any time.
That's true.
Well, yeah,
So
also it's like anytime you shove anything in your vagina, ladies, that's God.
Because God is everywhere.
Yeah.
God is in that fucking bad dragon dildo you bought with 20% off.
God's creations
Yeah.
are beautiful. So Pomeroy was at the point where he's done being polite. His wife just died, and he's getting these letters every other day from her and her followers because they're like, you need to be with her. Ah.
Right.
Oh,
he's
God.
Opening up letters like, this bitch wants to fuck.
Yeah,
But it's also her followers trying to get you to fuck. So imagine just like, hey, you should fuck this getting a letter that's just like, oh, please fuck this person. Like, that's weird
That's
to
suspicious. That's the
Yeah.
Nigerian prince of old-timey English letters.
me. Yeah, you got pussy waiting. You want it? Not really.
So yeah, this is the point where
like a trap.
this is the point where you mentioned that he would just throw them straight into the fire, including her prophecies. Which at one point she would ask for her prophecies back because they need to be instructive. He was like, I threw that shit in the fire, you idiot.
Yeah, he has that awkward conversation like, ooh, I don't save any of the shit you send me, bitch.
I hate to break this bad news to you, but did you see that coming, bitch? Was that one of your prophecies? Me dropping
Yeah,
all of your
prophetess.
dumb paper into the fire? By the way, what does the word chunt mean?
I was hoping to leave that open-ended.
So at this time, there was another whack job running around England saying that he had the voice of God. His name was Richard Brothers. And
Dick Brothers, cool.
Dick Brothers. So he had this idea that since in the Bible it says that the world was created in 4004 BC, that meant that it was
Good
gonna
year.
meant that it was gonna end in 2004 AD. We're still
Cool.
here,
Man,
but-
I wish he was right.
God damn it.
Well, the Bible didn't account for fucking daylight savings.
well, right.
So,
So here's when you're like, why are they talking about millennialists? Brothers was like, yeah, but the Jewish calendar has 354 days, so that meant the end is nigh.
oh, good. Numerology. I fucking love it.
So he believed that the world would start a millennium of peace, or the final millennium. And that was basically where God's chosen people were getting free blowjobs, all that paradise shit. Everyone else is dead, except for the chosen people.
Blowjobs for these guys, death to those.
Yeah.
Damn.
Dumb.
Yeah, so Joanna could smell a fellow con artist like Brothers from miles away. But she was quick to shoot down Brothers' ideas. But she did plagiarize him for the final millennium thing. She's like, yeah, of course the
Oh.
world's going to end soon. Like, listen to Brothers, final millennium. And lucky for her, Brothers had been locked up in an insane asylum. And
Wonder why.
And that left all of his rich London followers up for grabs.
How much of a sheep are they? Where it's just like, oh, the one crazy guy's gone. Are there any other? Oh, here we go.
He was a little bit too crazy. That's why.
Emily.
Henrietta, where do I put my money? There's got to be someone around here to tell me where the world's going to end and where to put my money here.
Exactly.
Henrietta, help me, Henrietta. To look for someone on the street who's looking for a horse. Or maybe not looking for a horse. Maybe they killed the horse and beside her.
Make sure they don't have shoes.
So these London followers of brothers flocked to Joanna. Like these bumble-headed, brainwashed idiots. And it was different than her normal bumblefuck idiots. These guys had money and influence.
Rich bumblefuck idiots.
So one of her biggest followers was a man named Thomas Foley, who was an aristocrat and a minor lord-to-be. Also, another one was political writer William Godwin, whose daughter would reach her fame at the end of the 19th century when she wrote Frankenstein.
Oh, we talked about her.
Mary Shelley.
In, the fucking Byron episode.
So they sent funds to Joanna to help her write more books and all this shit. These books called for the clergy, even King George, to recognize her divine status. And of course, she kept mentioning the love of her life, Pomeroy. She hadn't given up on Pomeroy. So Pomeroy at this point was past the point of feeling bad, even more so. He was like mentioning her in his... Sorry, he saw her mentioning him in in her books as blasphemous and slanderous. And the thing about these South Scottian followers was that they would record and preserve everything that Joanna wrote and said and publish it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's bad if you're playing the prophecy game, I can imagine.
Yeah, but also...
How's business going? Well, she won't shut up, so it's fine.
Just write everything down.
They'd also publish anything that was sent to her. So all of these cease and desist letters that Pomeroy was writing Joanna, they just print it. And it further tarnished his name.
Hey, where's her diary? Give me that, too.
Yeah. She would actually plaster signs all over her town, calling Pomeroy out and saying he needs to acknowledge her as her bride and the bride of Christ, all this garbage. It actually went to court, and the court ruled it not slanderous. So then Pomeroy was stuck walking around this town pulling down posters with his name on them.
That sucks.
Ugh.
So that's why I feel bad for this guy.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, so
Yeah.
it was about time for her to move out of this small city in Devon and move to the capital of the world, London. So with financial help from her followers, she was able to move to London. She was now 52 years old, and her zeal, showmanship, and schizophrenia was at an all-time high.
Sick.
Sweet.
Good.
Yeah.
It's like max level 52.
So she hit the ground running. She started writing things that she called seals, which were basically pieces of paper with a phrase enclosed in them, with a phrase enclosed in a circle. And that phrase was, the sealed of the Lord, elect and precious, man's redemption to inherit the tree of life, to be made heirs of God and joint heirs of Jesus Christ. She'd write these things on a piece of paper and circle it. And basically, if you had one, it meant that you were a member of the elect. And there was a set number of members of elect that could go into this Revelations mode. It was 144,000. I don't know why.
Jehovah's Witnesses do something like that.
Yeah, they think like there's only 144 like seats in heaven or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Oh,
144K seats in heaven. That is a significant number.
Well, yeah.
I don't know why.
So she would write these pages and hand them out. She wrote thousands of them. And although she claimed not to sell them for a price, she'd request a donation of 10 shillings to a guinea for each paper.
Making money, dude. It's all about
Yeah,
donations. You write that shit off. Tax exempt. Also, I just double checked it, and the Jehovah's Witness have an anointed number of 144,000.
Yep.
So, same number.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Special
from...
number.
There's probably
There's
a
only 144,000 Jehovah Witnesses out there.
No, there's 144,000 that could be anointed into heaven. There are other people that can get into a type of heaven, but it's not as gravy.
It's a VIP room.
Yeah, so that's
Who the fuck makes this shit up?
some asshole who wrote Revelations, apparently. So that's where Joanna's getting this from.
Yeah.
This is not like she's not coming up with these numbers by herself.
Yeah.
Right. She is coming up with the pieces of paper that she's selling for a guinea a piece.
Of course she is.
Also, these seals that she was writing had a street value in resale, so people were scalping them. And people believed in this shit. Soldiers used to tuck it into their breast pocket as protection.
Good. You know what works as protection? A bulletproof vest.
Yeah. No,
That piece of paper, bullets go right through it. Doesn't matter if you spend $1,000 on it.
Automatic guns, though.
So she did receive a little bit of bad PR when one of God's elect, a convert to Southcottism, an Irishman named Michael Carney, crushed his wife's skull when she forgot to cook cauliflower that he ordered her to.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Seems a little drastic. Honestly, cauliflower's not that good.
Yeah,
So I don't know why.
Yeah, how
fucked up.
fucking pent up was that guy not getting hand jobs and blow jobs where it's just like, I will be fucking murderously irate woman
I could
if
see.
my cauliflower dinner is botched.
I can almost see that if he had taken some Bubba Burgers out of the freezer to defrost and she forgot. Then I get it. I get it. But cauliflower, come on, dude, relax, man.
Yeah, that's a waste of a
Yeah.
life.
Have a beer.
Yeah, well, he actually threw the 2 cauliflower at her and went to the ale house, got drunk, killed her, and right after he turned his wife's brain to porridge, he found her seal and tore it up, thinking that if he destroyed the seal, his crime would be unpunished. That wasn't the case because he was arrested, sentenced to death, and hanged for murder.
Damn.
It's rare to get this stupid of a cast even on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Wow, what a
Shit.
bunch of
I feel
idiots.
special today.
Yeah.
Ooh.
A lot of anger right there to kill your wife.
Over
You killed your wife
cauliflower.
and then tore up, over cauliflower, and then shredded up her fucking good luck charm. That's special crazy.
Yep.
Definitely.
So, Joanna had picked up another habit of heavily drinking, like me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, she's
Yeah.
English.
Yeah, this is England. She said,
You're supposed to. If you're not heavily drinking, you're
You're in violation of the law.
you're an asshole.
yeah, she said that she used this to calm her nerves because she would go into laughing fits and wander the house talking to
I hate
angels.
those.
Yeah. I need my beer so I stop laughing.
That's just not how it works, Cody.
No.
So this was also when the self-flagellation happened. Yeah, so she started to lash her legs with a leather belt to atone for her vanity.
Oh, God.
Joanna felt that the clothes and the high life she was living at the time was now not befitting for a holy person.
Yeah, Jesus hates Aeropastel.
When people started noticing that her legs were bruised and bloody, she quickly switched the narrative to she was doing this to show that she was willing to suffer for God.
She's just covering up. She's like, yeah, I got, Jesus is at home. He really does care about me. But every now and then, he beats the cum out of me.
Oh.
So she would also claw herself with her fingers in the middle of the night and say that she had tussles with the physical reincarnation of the devil.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Who doesn't, man? Who fucking doesn't?
Tussling with the devil.
Yo,
Yeah.
last night I was sleeping, and I woke up at 2:30, and I couldn't get back to bed, and it took me like an hour and a half to get sleeping again. I would have preferred a fight, because I was bored. I would have taken a tussle.
Yeah, Tom just calls a fucking Uber driver out and is like, I don't need to go anywhere. But if you want to step out of the car, there's a fucking octagon right here.
Free punch.
Used to
I'm
be
not-
my trampoline.
Well, by the way, I'm not much of a fighter. I'm not a tough guy. But,
No, but we
it
all
would have been
feel like
better than
fighting
just
a thing.
sitting there for a few hours.
Well, right, Tom, here's something you could have
Watch some
tried.
cops, Tom.
Yeah, here's something you could have tried that would stick with social distancing. So she went on a retreat alone to a cabin for a week. This was come up with more prophecies and whatever, blah, 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 blah. She showed up back in London, all bruised and cut up. And when people asked her what happened, she was like, Satan took the form of a pig and I had to fight it to death.
Had to make some bacon.
So she killed Satan.
Yeah.
Huzzah.
Yeah, there you go. No, her followers were like, oh, that
Good
makes
shit.
sense. Yeah, you just fought a pig in a barn. She's also 52 years
Mark
old and
Schmidt.
like fucking obese and just like a gross lady. You know, this isn't.
Yeah, she was hungry.
This isn't
Well, you
Ronda
have legs
Rousey
and
here. You know.
arms.
Well, are you saying
just
Ronda
like to
Rousey
pig.
is hot?
No, but I'm saying she
No.
could beat up a pig.
She could beat up
Yeah.
a pig, yeah.
Yeah.
She's not hot, and I don't think that's the look she's going for anyway. So,
Well, yeah,
I don't
but
think
she could
that's an
beat up
insult.
she could sure kick the shit out of a tiny little piglet.
are you calling
Point
yourself?
stands.
Are you calling yourself a tiny little piglet?
All right, so Joanna's book sales and the seals made her very wealthy. She claimed it was never about the money, as I mentioned, but she would request monthly updates on her book sales. It came to a point where at first she was giving the seals out to everyone, and then she said, "I won't give you a seal unless if you own one of my books."
Oh,
Yeah.
One of those
shit.
people.
And there was no sharing. So if you and your wife shared a copy of The Strange Effects of Faith, you got one seal. You had to go buy another book for your wife.
She's
Whoa.
the worst.
Look at this.
This woman
Fucking
started
worst.
the college business model. Like, no sharing textbooks. You gotta get your own textbook. You gotta pay for the diploma, even though it's worthless.
You don't get to share the diploma. One name goes on that fucking diploma.
One name. And guess what? If your husband beats you to death over cabbage or cauliflower and shreds it up, can't pass it down. Can't give that to your kids.
No.
It's true.
So over the next 10 years, she continued to prophesize, and she would hold these trials for her inner circle where they would rent out a mansion for a week-long retreat, and they'd read prophecies and
good.
enter angelic trances.
I kind of want to go to that.
Yeah, and of course, every time she'd invite the usual clergymen and King George III and Pomeroy, who all refused to even acknowledge the letters.
Yeah.
She got so
Crazy
rude.
vacation with crazy lady? No.
yeah, she got so pissed.
Sucks to God, though.
Yeah, she got so pissed at King George III that she cursed him. Now, as you may or may not know, King George III was absolutely insane, and this was something that Joanna accredited to her curse, even though there were signs of his insanity long before her curse happened.
Good.
You know.
Good.
And when he died, that was like, oh, well, that was me telling God he needed to die.
I did that. You're welcome. Thank you.
Obviously.
So she had a debate with a clergyman in Leeds over the source of evil. Joanna claimed that it was from Satan, and the clergyman was like, it's obviously Adam and Eve. They're the one that fucked it up for everyone. First of all, this is a stupid debate.
Yeah.
Joanna, who didn't like to be challenged, especially when the person was far more learned in the subject, just yelled, "This man is an enemy of the human race and the friend of the devil." And the clergyman was carried out of the hall by her fanatics and thrown out into the street.
Well, she's cracking two Budweisers together going, "Let me get a hell yeah!" Wearing nothing but a leather vest.
Yeah.
It's not even fucking underwear.
No, nothing. Not even the traditional rustling trunks. It's just pubic hair that is cut into the shape of that of wrestling trunks.
Oh, why is it on your hips?
Now at this point,
it gets long.
At this point, Joanna was, she's in her 50s. She's fat. She's pretty. People would say she's disgusting. Let's put it out there. That's not even from my words. But during the tour, there were many rumors about her having affairs with married women. Rumors that she got pregnant and had a stillborn child.
Married
Flush
women.
it out.
Yeah.
Did I say married women? Married men. Married
did,
men,
yeah.
probably, and women.
That makes the stillborn child less confusing by fathoms.
So on this tour, she met a fellow charlatan named Mary Bateman of Leeds. And Bateman, who was about 40, was known as a spell master. Yeah.
what?
So people would show up to her with a problem, and she would magically make them go away. A lot of times, the source of their problem was a person, and if the client paid enough, that person would vanish.
Oh,
Automatically?
Magically.
Oh, well, I mean, she's a strong woman. She can handle a few abusive husbands or nagging wives, toss them right over the old cliffs of Dover. Miracles.
she's doing God's work.
So
Amen, she is.
inspired by Joanna, Mary stepped up her holy game and she made a miracle. One day, she produced an egg with the words "Christ is coming." She didn't spell Christ right. That she said her chicken produced.
He's a
so how does
chicken.
it
What do you
spell?
expect? They cannot spell. They cannot spell words like Christ right and chunt and delivery. I don't know.
Christ?
Wait. So this egg had like embroidery of like Christ.
Yeah,
on
it
or
said
something like
Christ
that?
is coming. Like, I don't know, in Sharpie
two
or
S's?
something.
in the egg. Oh, in Sharpie. Oh,
Yeah.
some chicken wrote that.
So there were more eggs with "Christ is coming" written on them, and soon she made the news. Joanna praised her as a true miracle worker.
Oh.
Then, on October 8th, 1808, Mary Bateman was arrested for murder.
Wow.
Oh no.
Yeah, one of her clients, Rebecca Purio, who was secretly going to Mary for years, paying her to lift curses from her life. One day, Rebecca's husband found out that she was spending his hard-earned money going to this Mary Bateman, and he was pissed. So he walked over to Mary's house and called her out for being a fraud and threatened to go to the police. Why are you taking my wife's money? So
Why?
yeah, so Mary didn't want to lose her client, Rebecca, and she certainly didn't want the police investigating her. So while Rebecca's husband was at work, Mary showed up to her house and gave her some magic white powder that she said, all you need to do is drop this in his Yorkshire pudding, and it was completely harmless, but your husband would see the truth. That
She getting
I like
hyped?
to think that the poison is dependent on the Yorkshire pudding.
yeah.
Anything else, and it would just like not work.
So you guessed it, the powder was in fact arsenic.
Oh no.
So Rebecca actually offered to pay Mary for the powder, but Mary was like, "Nah, this one's on me. Don't worry about it. Just take it."
Jeez.
Free poison.
Can't beat that.
So Rebecca mixed the powder into the gravy that she put into the Yorkshire puddings, and instead of just giving it to her husband, they both ate them together because she was like, "Oh, it's harmless. I mean, I already know the truth."
what?
Wow.
Yeah, so the two of them suffered terrible stomach pains for days. During this time, Rebecca told her husband about the magic powder. And then Rebecca...
You stupid woman. You fucking idiot. You have one job and it's kitchen duty. You know the recipes. I bought the book. It requires no magic powder.
That was probably gluten. We're gonna die.
So Rebecca died, but her husband survived.
Hey, look at that. That's not wrong.
Yeah.
Good.
I love it. Good.
Good.
So obviously...
Good thing.
It'd be
Deserves it,
wild if that
honestly.
was real
Yeah.
and nonfiction. Right?
So, obviously, it was pretty obvious that she had poisoned them. Mary was taken to trial and sentenced to death. During the days up to her execution, she came out saying that she was a follower of Southcott. And Joanna quickly disowned her and her followers. Keep in mind, a year earlier, she was calling her a holy woman.
Yeah. Who?
Who's that?
I don't know that.
Mary
bitch.
Bateman? Who that?
Who it is, bitch?
So the
Yeah, right.
the morons in Leeds thought that some divine intervention would prevent Mary Bateman from hanging on the noose, but she died all like the rest. But still, her clients claim that she would rise again. But no, we've never seen Mary Bateman again.
I did meet a Mary Bateman once.
Was she baiting?
Really?
No, she asked me for money.
Did you give her the money?
No.
You just took the poison for free.
She was outside of a Subway.
Yeah, you can't
Jared
trust that.
Subway.
No.
And his, hi, my name is Mary Bateman. I want $5 for a foot long.
Regardless if it's the restaurant.
I said, no, Mary Bateman, you have to go home.
So back to Joanna. She's the living bride of Christ. People are worshiping her. They're writing down everything she says. But Joanna's getting tired of being in the starlight all the time, especially from Thomas Foley, that aristocrat that was so entranced by Joanna that he had his son baptized by her, and which was a move that his father, Lord Foley, wrote him out of the will for.
Good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Did she ever baptize anyone before?
No,
Did she know the intricacies behind getting someone's head wet?
I don't think so. I didn't know. I don't know if she knew like the sprinkle technique, or the dunking.
Yeah, you got
Very
You got
convoluted.
spritz. You got spritz.
Yeah.
I thought you dunk it.
That's a swirly
Hold on.
mic.
It depends on the, Roman Catholics. They do a little, you're done right here. Just stay
Splash
cool.
in the tub.
And then there's other types of Christianity where they just like trip you into a swimming pool. It's different.
Yeah, no, and then there's the Southern Baptists that try to like drown you in a river.
I'm all for that. Because if you want to do this, you should do it for real, not just get your head wet. We all do that every day when we shower.
Commit.
Yeah,
commit.
right?
Yeah. Show us you mean it, you fucking pussy ass bitch. Love God.
So Joanna needed a place to get out of London. She needed to go back into the country. She couldn't go home because her village and her family thought she was completely nuts, with the exception of her brother John. Yeah,
no shit.
With the exception of her brother John, who was a follower, and but he was poor,
Fucking
so
idiot.
she wasn't going to hang out with John.
Of course he's poor. Why would you hang out with Brother John? This dude's born to be poor.
Yeah.
Because he's from the same family as you, and remember, you lost all your money. And John was supposed to be rich, but guess what? Things happen.
Yeah, also another thing, I'm not sure why John was a follower, because his only child died young, to which he got a letter from Joanna, said like, told you so, prophesized it.
Oh, God. I hate the told you so's.
I mean, John is obviously smooth in his parts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so to escape this whole thing, Joanna bought a cottage in Blockley, Gloucestershire. Like the cheese.
Oh jeez. It's a mouthful.
Gloucestershire.
Jeez.
There she took the alias Miss Goddard. She would spend months, even years, there writing her prophecies and dodging her followers. It was there that she met a man named John Smith. The two of them had a secret affair and almost lived in kind of like a common law marriage. They actually had a secret daughter named Sarah. Joanna was very careful not to let Sarah's existence out of the bag because she was still claiming to be a virgin, pushing 60.
Also, Bride of Christ.
Yeah.
Right. Bride of Christ, secret
Yeah.
child, Sarah. Shh, Sarah.
So here's where we get to her last and final biggest scam, where things finally get gross. I know I promised we're going to get gross.
Yeah,
And we're going to get gross.
Whose dick is getting chopped off in this episode?
A lot of dicks. So,
Wow.
one night on March 1814, Joanna was now 64 years old, and she was met by God. And he was like,
Oh,
hey,
hi.
baby, let me slip under those rolls and get between those bruised and bleeding thighs that you just flogged a few minutes earlier and get that God dick inside of you.
Or just stand there. It's fine. It's like a goddamn python. It can go wherever it wants.
So
Just let it be.
Joanna writes, all of a sudden the spirit entered me with such power and fury that I lost all senses.
Yeah.
Hit that God spot.
You ever get fuck numb? Does that happen?
Well, is there a God category on baddragon.com?
Should be.
What does the God penis look like? Does it have gills?
God doesn't have a dick. He's got a smooth mannequin joint. And what he does is he shoots little sperms out like finger guns, you know? He's like,
Pew, 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 pew.
Yep.
Or like the Peter Parker?
Yeah, something like that. Like he's just like, I don't get off like you weirdos.
Wait, you don't?
The human dick is not a pleasure. It's a goddamn pain in the ass. I'm just here
I
blasting
made you
them off.
guys weird.
Virgin over here, no more. Virgin over there. Let's go to India. No one's gonna believe these chicks. Pew 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 pew.
Wait, you telling me God is Spider-Man?
God's something else. We have these dicks. We can't like he doesn't have that shit. We know that.
Yeah.
Come on. Think outside the box here.
I like to think God made our reproductive process the funniest shit he could imagine for himself.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, all right.
It's like you're not gonna believe where it comes out of underneath their doors.
Well, also, it's like your penis pees and comes. It, like, shoots excrement, and it shoots, like,
Yeah.
baby material. And the vagina
Yeah.
is right next to the butthole where poop comes out of. Like,
I put their important parts right next to the sewage
Yeah, right?
processing plant.
and
I
also,
don't
like,
know.
you can't pee if you're a girl and, like, not pee on part of your vagina.
You can't.
That's why they
You
wipe.
can't pee on not part of the toilet seat if you're a guy.
I'm just saying, God had a
the
sick
seat.
sense of humor. If there was a God, he's like, what's going on here would make squiggle bits.
Travis, your comment on women not being able to pee without getting some of it on their vagina.
Oh, let's revisit
I just
this.
got a big old "Are you kidding?" from Gabby.
Ah,
over
they
here.
get his juice. I get pee on my dick all the time.
Well, you gotta do the handstand before the fucking urinal tray.
Why you wipe then?
Put it out there, Travis. Maybe we don't know as much as
I
we
don't
think
know
we do.
anything. I don't know anything.
Women pee on themselves.
I don't know.
That's how it works,
I never
right?
stared at a woman
Comments.
pee from the toilet's
I've never
point of
seen
view.
a vagina.
Yeah, never seen it. I'm like
know vaginas
Leonardo da
work.
Vinci.
I don't know
There's a
either.
massive hole there
I don't
and
believe
shit
in
and
it.
piss comes out of it. I don't know.
It's just an upside down Home Depot bucket that they carry in those little panties of theirs.
Yeah, please thank Gabby for the YouTube clip.
All right, so you're right about shooting juice everywhere because God was not the only person there that night. He had a bunch of his angels show up too. That's right, Joanna had an angelic orgy. Everyone was tag teaming her, and she explained this in very big detail to all of her followers that, guess what, I just wasn't God. Like, I was sucking an angel dick, and then the angel went into me too.
All the
crazy.
archangels came down there. Archangel Arthur, Archangel Derek,
Winston.
Archangel Minster,
Minister.
Winston.
It's just a mess in there.
Hogarth.
Archangel
Hogarth.
Peter
That's a good
North,
one.
Archangel Lexington
Danny D.
Steele.
Johnny Sins.
And Johnny
Yeah.
Sams. So now Joanna was pregnant. She was pregnant. How?
Wow.
How? I mean, Joanna's a virgin.
Congratulations.
She's never had sex
It
before.
happens.
I can't believe this shit.
She has sex with an angel.
Yeah. You know that bitch?
Wait,
What?
what about Sarah?
No, don't worry about it. No one knows about her.
No.
You don't talk about it. It's a secret.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
Secret
You know
Sarah.
that bitch, Virgin
Sarah.
Mary? Enter Virgin Joanna. What?
But better.
Also, this is a funny fact. Her followers pointed out that it was impossible that Satan could have been the midnight raper because Joanna was so ugly. They said that she agreed. She said it had been so long since I was attractive that it would have been impossible to draw an evil spirit in as a lover. Satan has taste.
Give me
I
a
was gonna
break.
say, are we about to enter the
That's
territory, the train of thought where God has lower standards than Satan?
Well, that's
God
it's
is
not
the
from my
judge.
mouth. That's from Joanna.
God's like, yeah, do that. That's fine for me. I'll bring my boys too. Yeah, Satan's just like, ew, no, thank you.
So, so what was the name of the second coming of Christ? What was his name? Was it Jesus too?
Christ?
Jesus, yeah, Christ. Jesus too, Super Jesus. We got Christ. We got Chud or whatever you were saying before. Chud.
Chunt.
It doesn't matter. What I was
Random
saying
horse.
is dumb, and any podcast that says that word is dumb.
No, Joanna named him Shiloh. So where did she get Shiloh? I mean, there was no Shiloh LaBeouf
Yeah.
back then.
the
She got the name
Yemens?
Shiloh from Genesis 49:10, where it says, "The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of people be."
I'm considering not doing any editing on that read just so people can realize what I do to make this podcast work.
Dude, reading from the Bible's hard. But anyway, Joanna's like, I never met anyone named Shiloh. Never even heard of that name before. So she announced that God ordered her to name her child Shiloh. Now, the funny thing is, this passage from Genesis might be hard to decipher, I admit, but Shiloh is not the name of a person, it's the name of a place.
All right. So
Okay, it's like naming your kid
Yeah,
New Jersey.
right? So in the coming days, she received another message. She said that she should buy clothes for all of her closest followers and a white bride's gown for herself. That's right, Joanna was finally going to get married. God,
Hey,
yeah,
congratulations.
and God said that her husband would be none other than Noah Bishop.
Oh,
Oh.
that guy.
but
Ain't that nice?
but Noah Bishop is a handsome, dashing lawyer or something like that, and she's too ugly for him.
Well, here's the thing. When the two reunited, they would transform into their 18-year-old self.
Wow.
I can't
That's some
believe that
crazy
she's the most important person in her story.
Yeah.
Transform.
So she waited for Noah to magically show up. There was no letters or anything sent. I don't think that she knew where Noah Bishop was or if he was even still alive. Nothing.
He'll be here, guys. He'll be here. Just keep the barbecue going. We're doing pulled pork for the reception.
Just stuck in traffic.
Then she was like, hey, must be Pomeroy. He's going to be my husband. We were married in my mind.
Mind married.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So, funny enough, Joanna was reading a paper a few years before this whole thing that was happening, and she read that Robert Pomeroy was dead. And she made up this whole thing about how she had foreseen it and that, God has cried for his death. And it turned out that, yes, Robert Pomeroy died, but not the Reverend Robert Pomeroy that she was her one true love. So there was another dude
telling me
named
there's two
Robert.
gentlemen.
Yeah. And she was
Wow,
like, "Oh
that's a
no,
horrible
like
name.
I guess my prophecy is wrong. Yeah, whatever. I love you, Robert."
You're the best dead husband a woman could ask for.
Good save.
So with Pomeroy still alive, she was like, "All right, he's gonna be the dude. We gotta wait for him."
Gonna be the dude.
Yeah.
He'll be here, dude. I promise, dude. Just hang out.
So they start sending letters to him. He's throwing them in the fire, whatever.
Oh, I feel bad for this
Yeah.
lady, kind of.
No, don't, Mike.
Mike, you're off the podcast. This is your last episode. You can't feel bad for mentally ill people.
She's nuts.
She's stamping the seal, which automatically flags it as spam. So he's just like, oh, this is easy. That one goes in the
but-
garbage every time.
But Mike, she's also making so much money off of these stupid people. Like she's dumb,
That
like
is
she's
true.
dumb and crazy, but she's like cognizant enough to make these scams,
That is true. Still aware of doing that shit,
Yeah.
yeah.
She has to
Yeah.
own this shit. It's like, and if she doesn't, that's why we're here. To take a large donkey piss all over her entire legacy,
Yeah.
I guess. Right? Just
Okay.
fuck this. Who cares? Who wants any of this? Donkey piss all over your legacy, woman.
So as her due date approached, Pomeroy and Bishop were not showing up, and she got very nervous. Because even though Shiloh was the son of God, he needed to have an earthly father or else he'd be born out of wedlock. I don't know why that's important, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Joanna just married John Smith and pretended that they had never met and had never lived together or raised a daughter together.
Oh my.
I mean, convenient.
Damn.
I'm Jesus' sister. Jesus is my little brother.
So here's the thing: is you can't just walk around saying I'm pregnant and people believe you, unless you're me, because my belly fluctuates a lot. I get big, I eat a lot of shrimp.
I've seen it.
I
Yeah.
eat less shrimp.
You have
one
way
day.
too much hair on your chin to get away with it, though.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? My hormones are out of whack. So
Well, how dare you think I am a he-she? I'm having a baby, and its name is going to be Carl Jr.
so there are.
Yeah, without a Carl
Yeah,
Senior.
there are physical changes, obviously. And the weird thing was that Joanna was exhibiting those changes.
Was she still peeing on her own vagina?
So people said they could even feel the baby kick and that she had begun to lactate. This is a 64-year-old woman,
Ew.
65-year-old woman.
Hot, man.
That's coming out, dude. Well, she's too ugly for me.
So
And Satan.
So this made even her non-believers and members of the medical community flock to her. Because from a doctor's perspective, it's like, how did this 65-year-old woman who's well past menopause, how is she pregnant? I have to see what's going on.
Hey, you want to check it out?
Yeah, let me get a whiff of
They had
this.
TV back then.
So she had over 40 doctors examine her. Some of them called bullshit, but most of them said she was pregnant. The thing was that Joanna would not allow them to examine her internally. She'd scream at any doctors that even asked about doing that because it was indecent to look into a woman's vag.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, it's kind of like the sun. You just got to get an idea of it and then look away.
Can't look directly into this hot, messy puss that she's got going on. Way too ugly for anyone to do.
So,
It's painful to get your eyeballs disinfected.
yeah, Joanna was even visited by the Empress of France's gynecologist, who said this. He said
Okay.
that he was even more impressed that any flesh and blood man would want to impregnate her, let alone the Holy Ghost.
Oh my
Wow,
God.
yeah.
Real Jay Leno
I like
right
this
there.
guy. He's thinking.
Being honest.
So, in the end, a Dr. Richard Reese became her primary doctor. Now, originally he called bullshit, but somehow he came around. I honestly think that he just kind of wanted to see, like, what's going on here and stick around and see what's up.
Yeah, I'm curious. I haven't shut Travis out of this podcast yet.
So, as time went by, he came up with some theories that he released after Joanna had passed away. One of them was that she was holding in her piss into her bladder to the point where it was so swollen and swelling that it pushed her fat up and made her look pregnant.
This would have to be false.
Why?
I know this because we did Tycho Brahe, and that killed him.
Yes. But here's the thing, and I was going to get into this. Her health was deteriorating quickly during this pregnancy. Like, she was...
I can't wait to have my little baby boy. I don't care if it's just made out of little worms.
Yeah, so she was, like, dying a lot. So maybe true. And the whole baby kicking was done by her contracting muscles and forcing this bloated piss sack up to her body.
Ew.
I swallowed a few of those baby Jordans that they sell in Foot Locker. And I made them swim around my stomach till it felt like chicken.
So as for the lactating nipples, Joanna, who required hours of alone time to talk to God, was simply just sucking on her own
Like that.
tits until they were red and swollen.
Nice.
And the milk was actually infected pus.
Ew.
And Tom, is this gross enough for you?
Oh, yeah, we're there, Travis! We are
Quota met.
gross.
Quota met.
We are in top 5 gross land right now of this podcast.
That's disgusting, Travis.
Just sucking on your tits for hours on end, waiting to get that sweet pus to start dribbling at the bottom, hit the knees. Ooh.
So
I'm gonna
So
try
all
later.
this, yeah, all this
Report back.
piss holding, beating herself, sucking her tits until they're rotten. Her health was taking a downturn. It could have been, like we said on
wonder why.
Tycho Brahe, like you said, Tom. She's holding her piss in. No toxins are coming out.
That'll kill you in a
It's a
day,
fucking
though.
nut job.
You can hold your piss in for a day and a half, and it'll kill you.
Well,
Because
what
that
she-
she'll burst.
I mean, she might have been, a doctor's coming. Let me hold it in for like 2 days or like a day, piss it out, and then like do it again.
She's bobbing and
Oh,
weaving.
She had to.
All right, sorry, I misread that. I was thinking of like she's a
For
giant.
like 9 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
I
my
got.
God.
I gotta put a few pounds on this baby right now.
Well, you know, there's no nut November, but there's also no piss January.
That's a hard one.
Her health was taking a downturn, and keep in mind that this wasn't just some random woman staging a farce. All of England and the world was watching this woman at this point. There were crowds outside of her house, all waiting to hear news.
The thing come out of your vagina
Yeah,
yet?
people used to actually, they made like very, very expensive baby equipment for her. Like they made a crib that made out of like gold
Baby
encrusted.
equipment.
I don't know, I'm never going to have a kid. Baby
Well, you
equipment.
should have a kid. I think you should have a kid. You'd be a great dad. Also, it's like you have a bunch of dudes like, you see that one up there? She's walking around, blopping around the house. You could see it shake every step she's got. If you look real closely, you see her tits are bleeding. And that's when babies come out. So this is real deal. She's had sex with God.
Yeah.
I believe it.
But
I love pussy
But
tits.
not all of them were her supporters. There were people that were throwing rocks at her house, rotten fruit. They burned effigies of her. Because remember, this is also blasphemous. If you don't believe in her, it's like...
Those are guys baking potatoes. They're not burning effigies of this potato-shaped woman.
There was a few times where she had to relocate spots around London to conceal her location from the violent mobs of both Southcottians and her dissenters fighting.
I mean, but they eventually, just followed their nose?
Gas, hot gas.
Yeah,
I
just
smell her over there.
a lot of hot gas.
So after 9 months, there was no baby. 10 months, there was no baby. She still looked pregnant and was still said she was pregnant. But at this point, her health was so bad that she told Dr. Reese that if she died, she had instructed her followers to keep her body warm for 4 days to preserve it for resurrection.
Is this Jackie Chan's mother?
Yeah, just making the baby extra good.
Gotta really polish this dude off. He's got to get comedy and kung fu.
Yeah.
So if she did not resurrect after 4 days, she said Dr. Reese could perform an autopsy on her to prove that she wasn't faking it.
I mean, what does she care at this point? You know what I mean? Like,
Is she just swallowing chicken bones? Make it look like a baby's inside of me real quick.
yeah, I hope this lands in a somehow baby shape in my stomach.
Well, we didn't find a skull, but there's proof of over 100 babies. Lee.
They had wings.
So,
Angelic.
all right, we have quite a bit of post-mortem to do. I know this is a long show. But
Yeah.
I don't mind, but maybe our
riveted.
listeners have stopped listening to us about 50 episodes
yeah,
ago.
I am glued to my wicker
but
chair.
ask me the question.
Oh, how did Fatty kick the bucket?
So by
Yeah.
month 11, still claiming she was pregnant with the Son of God, one of her nurses noticed a tumor the size of a man's head growing out of her stomach. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's Jesus.
Is that baby?
Yeah, and this was like, Dr. Reese was like, oh, that might have also been another way she was like making the baby kick, was this fucking huge stomach tumor.
Oh, good. A tumor puppet.
And at Christmas of 1814, she was in a terrible state. She wasn't keeping food down, just making death gargles. And the day after Boxing Day, she died. From what exactly it was, maybe we'll find out. But probably the piss. Probably the piss.
Yeah. Probably the tumor
Very
piss.
scientific diagnosis. I love it, Trav.
Probably the piss.
So there was no second coming, no revelation, but her followers, you know, they're like, hey, she said she was going to resurrect after 4 days. We got to keep this body warm so she's nice and warm when she comes back.
How they do it.
Now, we know nowadays that when someone dies or something dies, you want to put it on ice because that's what preserves the body.
Let me guess. They put her on the 7-Eleven like taquito roller.
That's exactly what they did. They put her on a hot water bed and propped her up on the window of her house so all could see.
Oh, so she can wave out the window? Well, they put a stick on her head?
They weekend at Bernie's that bitch. Like while she's like putrefying.
So after
Some fucking poor guy using a goddamn bamboo stick attached to her hand, waving around.
Yeah.
I'm coming back.
So after day 3, Joanna was almost entirely rotten. Her followers were gagging in her presence. A lot of people were lighting up cigars just to mask the stench.
Oh, that's good.
Think she's coming back?
They're like ashing in her belly button. Think this one's turning out?
How do you think the baby's doing in there?
So
He's been
Give it a
quiet.
kick, see if it's kicking or something.
day 4, when you know it, no resurrection. Now it was Dr. Reese's disgusting task to autopsy this rotting sack of shit.
Yeah.
To see if
Yeah, the one guy that was really hoping she'd come back so he wouldn't have to cut her.
You are the warmest person in England ever. Everyone else is very cold most of the time. You are steaming right now. And you've been dead. You're a hot pocket of maggots just waiting to happen. This is going to be a terrible day for everybody ever.
Now, let's see if he got Jesus' little brother up.
Yeah, important. He wanted to see if little Shiloh was up in there, little Shiloh LaBeouf. Do it! Do it!
Shiloh, you in there? I'm going to put an echo in my voice and post and just do Shiloh, you in there? Can you hear me, boy? If you can hear me, say anything at all.
Do it! Just do it!
I want you to grab the hook of my umbrella if you see it.
I'll come save you, boy. Me and a whole team of excavators will be in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, remember the fucking, like, I can't remember what country it was, but it was, like, the Taiwanese, like, rescue from, like, the soccer team that, like, got in the flooded cave?
Yeah, I think it was Thai. But actually, now I'm blanking. Yeah. It was Thai? Yeah, it was Thai. And then Elon Musk was like...
Just shove this
That's why you don't
dildo.
go with pedophiles into a cave. And then he was wrong, because that guy wasn't a pedophile. He was a nice
and he didn't
man.
invent the right thing for the job because he's never been to Thailand.
Yep.
Yeah, Reese described how the body was almost completely rotten at this point. He did find the womb, which was the size of a pear and was barren as fuck. No baby.
Thank God.
Yeah, he
A lot
also
of not baby up in this bitch.
he also found that tumor that probably killed her. She had a fuck ton of gallbladder stones and a fucking like beanbag sack of a bladder just like flopping around.
Does anyone need a new bed sheet?
Yeah. Basically, this hell beast could have died from a lot of things.
She died from it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know when people just don't take care of themselves at all? Like, not one bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it's like, that person died. Well, didn't see that coming.
I'm kind of just imagining, like, you remember, like, fucking Captain Planet, and they're all just like, heart, fire, water. I'm just imagining, like, the gallstones and, like, the protruded bladder and the tumor just, like, all putting their hands in a circle and just be like, go team us. And then she died instantly.
Right. So
I can see it.
here's where this question that I posed way back in the beginning of the episode is like, what happens when your Messiah, when something you really believed in, it turns out to be a big old fraud? How do you deal with that? Right? Because she's got a lot of followers at this point. So some of the South
You
Scotians...
make a Christmas ornament.
Yeah, some of the South Scotians just swallowed their pride and walked away and said, well, that was a waste of time. But
The good eggs.
So I would
yeah,
do.
but a lot of them kept believing in this shit.
How?
An idiot.
Yeah, they came up with these wild workarounds that Shiloh was born into the spirit realm or that it was born into a living man. Some of these idiots claim that Shiloh now resided in King George IV, who we talked about that sack of shit in the Beau Brummel episode.
Oh, that was the guy they chose?
Yeah.
Wow, they could have done a little better.
Right. There was another South Scotian named George Turner that turned out to be, this was a little bit like more into the mid-19th century. He turned out to turn into a big sect leader, and he claimed that he housed the spirit of both Joanna and Shiloh at the same time. Now, this man ended up being a raper and a molester. So,
A raper?
raper.
Not a rapist?
No, just a raper. He was a raper.
Oh.
Another guy was a hobo that called himself Zebulon. He became a sect.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Cool,
he
man.
became a sect leader. Maybe if there's enough information on these dudes, we'll double back to him at some point. But Joanna died in 1814. But some South Scotian sects survived until at least the 1970s. People believing in this horse shit.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck
It's possible
me.
that people,
What
it's possible
idiots.
that people still believe in it today.
You just may have made a few believers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Travis, this is what happens. You start criticizing something and give it attention.
yeah.
So
Yep. Streisand
maybe
effect.
we made a new reality for a lot of folks to really sink their teeth into.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
A lot of people are bored
Yeah.
nowadays.
Why not?
Yeah, Travis.
I'm just South Scotian. One other thing I want to mention. When she died, she had a sealed box of prophecies. Now, it was said that this box was only supposed to be opened during a time of national crisis and in the presence of 12 religious leaders. Again, looking for that, I need to be verified. Yeah, I need to go on Twitter and be verified.
Could I guess, Travis?
What's that?
Could I guess, Travis? Yeah. It was a bunch of English people who were like, well, the sun's out today. We don't usually deal with that. This is a national crisis.
Well,
let us open this box up.
Yeah.
My word.
Well, the box was shuffled around for decades, going from caretaker to caretaker. In 1927, our boy, master debunker extraordinaire Harry Price, claimed to have opened what he called Southcott's box of prophecies in front of a crowd.
Fantastic.
It turned out that inside was items during the early 19th century. There was a lotto ticket, a pistol, some of Joanna's writings, but he said that this was probably not the box of prophecies.
Oh, they saved the wrong box.
Yeah.
You think it's hidden somewhere?
Yeah, no.
It's probably pawned at an estate sale.
Well, there was a group of South Scotians that had the box, and members of the Panacea Society, which I think is a well-known society in England. They would run ads in the 1960s and 70s in the Sunday Express calling for the 12 bishops to open the box to bring about Judgment Day and return Shiloh to earth.
Yeah, bring him back.
Oh, my God.
Bring back Shiloh.
He was all right.
And that's pretty much Joanna Southcott in a nutshell.
Is there
Jesus
a fucking
picture
I can... Is there a picture I can
Hope I
stare
never
at?
Oh, you want to
Schizophrenic.
take a look at her? Yeah.
Yeah, let me...
We should have called our podcast something a little more quaint, like The Nutshell, where we give people nutshells, then they complain about us.
And then we nut in it. All right. So here is Joanna, and this was actually done by engraver William Pitt, who was a very big Southcottian.
Yeah, that's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Let me in that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Too ugly
knows a
for
couple
the
tricks.
devil.
Yeah, I can see it.
She looks like a hard-shelled taco upside down being squeezed out. It's a dirty napkin woman.
She's cute.
What else could you possibly tell us about Joanna Southcott?
I just wanted to pee before we said goodbye. Because I am concerned about my bladder, and I respect my body,
Yeah.
and I don't want
It's
to
fucking
die.
important, man.
I'm glad you respect yourself and your bladder.
Bingo. All right, well, thanks for tuning in to the Roast Mortem coverage of Joanna Southcott, England's prophetic potato lady.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
That's her.
Can't read, can't have babies, or can't tell the truth, whatever, I don't know.
Talk to
Maybe
God,
she
though.
didn't sin as much as we think she did.
Yeah.
We'll find out, though. But thanks for listening. Social medias, find us on that. We got the patreon.com/roastmortemcast. Hang out, give us some money. We have all of the things, Twitter, Instagram,
Yep.
and that's it. I don't know. That's all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
I guess.
y'all.
We don't have a LinkedIn yet.
Oh, we should make a LinkedIn.
Just say we
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah,
we should
let's
make a
LinkedIn.
link.
What's a LinkedIn for?
We should make a LinkedIn, and we should make like a MySpace.
Oh, yeah. We also have
Ooh,
a,
a MySpace would be sick.
Cody, we also have a Teespring store, right? Where people could
Yeah.
buy cool shirts.
Cool t-shirts at teespring.com/store/roastmortemcast. No spaces, because it's a fucking URL, you noob.
And that's
Nice.
it. Buy our shit.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Please.
listening. And
Yes.
Don't
Thank
hold
you.
your pee-pee in. That won't stop any sickness. It'll
Let it
give
out.
you sickness. Bye-bye.
Let it all out. Thank you, Shane.